Good evening. Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Sitami Jayaratna. Let's take a look at today's headlines.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe produced before the court. Distribution of letters and parcels of the Central Mail Exchange resumed with the mediation of security divisions. Another bilateral agreement regarding debt restructuring of the country. Studio 9 of the National Radio renamed after veteran singer Nanda Malini from today. A suspect dies in a shootout at Suryavada. Russia launches a huge attack against Ukraine. In your local news, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was taken into custody by the Criminal Investigation Department, was produced before the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court today. He has been accused of using government funds for a personal foreign tour. The Criminal Investigation Department has initiated an investigation regarding misuse of government funds for a private visit of a convocation ceremony of Professor Maitri Wickremesinghe, wife of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, when he was the president of the country. The former president was called at the CID in order to record a statement from him regarding this investigation. Later, he was produced before the Colombo Magistrates Court after being taken into custody by the CID. Being produced before the court, attorneys appearing on behalf of Ranil Wickremesinghe pleaded for bail and the request was taken up before the Fort Magistrate Nilupuli Lankapura. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Peeris, appearing on behalf of the Criminal Investigation Department, stated that facts will be presented against Ranil Wickremesinghe under the Public Property Act. He also requested Ranil Wickremesinghe to be remanded since the investigation process is not over. He added that the investigation was initiated regarding former President Ranil Wickremesinghe spending government funds to the tune of 16.6 million rupees for a private tour in Britain during 22nd and 23rd of September in 2023. President's Counsel Anuja Premaratna, appearing on behalf of Ranil Wickremesinghe, stated that the tour has been mentioned in a report issued by the National Audit Office and a misuse has not occurred. As such, attorneys of Ranil Wickremesinghe requested bail to be granted for his client. Distribution of letters and parcels at the Central Mail Exchange has started with the mediation of security forces. Several anti-riot squads have been called up to the Central Mail Exchange this evening. It was visible that letters and parcels are being delivered to the relevant destinations under heavy security. Postal workers who have not joined the strike also extended their support to these activities. Postmaster General Ruwan Satkumara stated yesterday that the postal workers who do not report for duty today will be considered as vacated of their posts. Issuing communication yesterday, he further said that the Treasury has informed him that funds will not be released to pay the salary for the month of August to the officials who have not reported for duty without obtaining leave under proper approval. Leave of all postal workers have been cancelled since the 17th of this month and asked to report for duty with immediate effect. The Postmaster General has also informed them if they are on medical leave, government medical certificates should be forwarded. According to the communique, the administrative regulations, the officers who do not report for duty will be considered as vacating their posts. Meanwhile, Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa says that fingerprint machines will be installed at the Central Mail Exchange amidst the hindrance. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that although the government had managed to reduce the revenue expenditure gap last year, with the increase of salaries, there was a possibility of that gap widening again. He explained that around 800 million rupees in additional expenditure was now being incurred annually on postal services from taxpayers' money. He said that launching strikes based on unfair demands would only reduce revenue further. The minister added that the government had already introduced fingerprint machines at the Central Mail Exchange and that such machines would be installed by tomorrow. He stressed that there would be no change in policy as the government and the public both expected the fingerprint system to be implemented. He said that while employees should not demand unlimited overtime allowances, the government would continue to reform and that only those willing to take responsibility for their salaries should continue in their service. Trade union representatives who continue to strike expressed their views today as well. The president of the Sri Lanka Postal Services Union, Jagat Mahinda, said that because of the strike, services had been suspended, leading to the loss of nearly 1.2 billion rupees. He added that Postal Master General must be held accountable for this. He alleged that employees had been misled with false information which had pushed them into striking. He described the strike as unsuccessful and unfair. Treasurer of the All Island Sub-Postmasters Union, Ravindra Amarajiva, said that they believe fingerprint systems were unnecessary. He added that while there was no issue regarding changes of overtime allowances, he requested that both parties engage in discussions to resolve the matter amicably.
A pre-budget meeting 2026 and a progress review of the projects implemented under the 2025 budget allocation to the Ministry of Plantation and Community Infrastructure Facilities was held today. It was held at the President's office under the patronage of President Anurukumara Dissanayake. Attention has been widely raised over the progress of the projects implemented under the 2025 budget allocation by the 29 entities that come under purview of the Ministry of Plantation and Community Infrastructure Facilities. They also focused attention on the problems erupted in this course and future plans. The President advised to raise special concern for the development of coconut cultivation and to identify lands with crash crops and to take measures to develop them. He also instructed to pay special interest to increase productivity of the existing coconut cultivation than starting cultivation anew. He also pointed out that the importance of enlightening the public over the existing rules and regulations that are relevant to utilize the coconut cultivation under private ownership is more optimized manner. Research on tea and rubber sectors, manufacturing quality cinnamon products and enhancing global access for them were also among the discussed issues. Minister Samantha Vijay Ratna, President Secretariat Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumaranayaka and many others were present at this discussion.
The government entered into a bilateral agreement on the debt restructuring of the country today with the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. The bilateral negotiations were conducted after finalizing the Memorandum of Understanding with the Committee of Official Creditors. The United Kingdom and Northern Ireland have agreed to provide a concessional step of debt through the discussions. Both the countries expressed their satisfaction regarding the dedication of the government of Sri Lanka to conclude the debt restructuring process speedily. According to the Ministry of Finance, bilateral relations among states will be further strengthened.
An initial discussions on the Sri Lanka Custom Modernization program was held recently at the Presidential Secretariat under the chairmanship of Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumaranayaka with the participation of representatives from the World Bank and the Revenue Administration Reform and Modernization Bureau.
The Revenue Administration Reform and Modernization Bureau was established on the instructions of President Anurukumara Dissanayake with the aim of ensuring the successful implementation of the Customs Modernization Initiative. The World Bank delegation commended this step. The World Bank representatives also expressed their willingness to provide the necessary international institutional support and expert guidance to ensure the success of the program. In addition, views were exchanged on the revision of the Customs Ordinance. The Inland Revenue Department, Sri Lanka Customs and Excise Department play a leading role in revenue collection. While operating under state authority, these institutions are also tasked with strengthening the domestic economy. The Revenue Administration Reform and Modernization Bureau has therefore been established to identify the policy and strategic changes required within these institutions and to present reports to the government accordingly. Among those present were Secretary to the Ministry of Finance Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, World Bank Program Leader Shabit A. Mohib, as well as customs officials and other representatives. In more local news, the adjournment debate regarding problems in human rights of this country was held in Parliament today. The motion was presented in Parliament by the opposition. Several views regarding the motion are shortlisted and broadcast now. Parliamentarian Mano Ganesan said that the next important matter after holding provincial council elections was to be constitutional reforms and to implement the recommendations of the LLRC report. He stated that although there was not final solutions, there would be a strong beginning. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijitha Herath said that according to the constitution, which is the supreme law of the country, all decisions were taken in a way to protect the multi-ethnic character and unity of the nation without any external interference. He said that provincial council system was already included in the constitution, although it had not resolved the national question. He explained that holding the provincial council election required legal space and that due changes to the electoral system, the Delimitation Commission report had not yet been approved by Parliament. Therefore, he said new legislation should have to be introduced and that take some time. He further emphasized that finding a solution to the national issue through the constitutional reforms was necessary and clearly stated in the government's policy statement. According to him, a new constitution would be prepared based on proposals from members of Parliament, the views of the public, the possible models from countries such as France, which would then be put to a referendum. He insisted that this would be a domestic process and did not require foreign intervention. The minister also said that Prevention of Terrorism Act would be repealed and that a special committee headed by the President's Council had already been appointed to draft the necessary amendment, which would be completed by the end of the month and gazetted in early September.
අනිකන් කවුන්සලින් කියනකම් අපි ඉන්න එකක් නෙමෙයි. අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනිතා පැහැදිලිව සඳහන් වෙන දෙයක්. ත්‍රස්තවාදී වැළැක්වීමේ පනත අහෝසි කරනවා කියන්නේ. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි දැනටමත් බලයටපත් වෙලා කෙටි කාලයක් තුල අපි විශේෂ කමිටුවක් පත් කරා. ජනාධිපති නීතිඥ රියන්සි අලසකුලරත්න නීතිඥතුමාගේ මූලිකත්වයෙන් ඒ කමිටුව අවස්ථා ගණනාවක රැස් වෙලා ඒ අවශ්‍ය කරන සංශෝධනයන් දැන් සිද්ධ කරලා මේ මාසය අග වෙනකොට අපි ඒක අවසන් කරලා සැප්තැම්බර් මුල වෙනකොට ත්‍රස්තවාදී වැළැක්වීමේ පනත අහෝසි කරන ඒ කෙටුම්පතත් ගැසට් කරන්න අපි කටයුතු කරනවා.
Parliamentarian Chamra Sampath Dasanayaka said that history would not be forgotten and the violations of human rights affected both the North and the South. He recalled that even during the invasions by the Portuguese and the Dutch, human rights were violated and stressed that imperialist powers in particular had committed such acts. Minister of Public Security Nanda Vijaypala said that during the last decade the government had delivered stability to society. He said that common law had been established, criminals and those assisting them had been brought under the law and legal system had been enforced. He further claimed that the government had changed the political culture and introduced reforms in education and health, ensuring welfare and large-scale programs for future generations. He emphasized that the government had worked to create a united society with the Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims where they could live together, contributing collectively to the upliftment of society. He added that within the remaining 4.5 years, the government intended to further strengthen this social contract.
දකුණ වේවා නැගෙනහිර වේවා සියලු ජනයා ඒකාබද්ධව ඒකරාශීව නැත්තම් සියලු දෙනා මේ සමාජයේ වඩාත් ඉහළට ඔසවා තැබීමේ කාර්ය සඳහා දායක ගන්න කරගන්න ක්‍රමවේදයක් අපි මේ වෙනකොට මේ සමාජයට ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. තව අවුරුදු 4යි මාස ගණනක් ඉතිරි වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි මේ සමාජයට ලබා දුන් සමාජ ගිවිසුම අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම සමාජයට අත්පත් කරලා දෙනවා. අද රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමා
Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Bimal Ratnayaka said that former President Ranil Wickremesinghe had recently been taken into custody. He recalled that 1.5 months earlier in Parliament he had revealed through Hansard that former President had travelled to the UK with his wife to attend her convocation ceremony spending state funds. He said that although MPs demanded the law to be equally enforced, when prominent political leaders were arrested, some members were reluctant to accept it. He further noted that the current postal strike arose because of postal employees resisting the introduction of the fingerprint machines. And we'll be right back after a short break. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
நாம் அனைவரும் நாம் இருக்கும் இடத்திலிருந்து ஒரு படி மேலே செல்லவே முயற்சி செய்கின்றோம். பல கனவுகளை சுமந்த வண்ணம் வெளிநாட்டுக்கு சென்றது வாழ்க்கையில் வெற்றி பெறலாம் என்று நினைத்துக் கொண்டு. ஆனால் ஆராய்ந்து பார்க்காமல் நாங்கள் தேர்வு செய்த பாதை பிழைத்து போனது. சமூக வலைத்தளங்களுக்கூடாக குற்றங்களை செய்ய நிர்பந்திக்கப்பட்டோம். எவரது பாதுகாப்புமற்ற ஓரிடத்தில் இணைய குற்றவாளிகளுக்கு நான் இரையாகிவிட்டேன். யாருமே அந்த கஷ்டத்தை அனுபவிக்க கூடாது.
மனித விற்பனையில் ஈடுபடுதல், அதனை ஆதரித்தல் பாரிய குற்றமாகும். பாதுகாப்பான ஒரு தேசத்திற்காக விழிப்புடன் நாம். நீங்கள்
எல்லா வாக்குறுதிகளும் நம்பக்கூடியதும் இல்ல, வழிகாட்ட முன்வார எல்லாரும் நல்லவங்களும் இல்ல. எங்க கனவெல்லாம் பயன்படுத்தி சிலர் நாங்க நினைக்காத அளவு எங்களை அணுக முயற்சிக்கிறாங்க. ஒரு அழகான சிரிப்புக்கு பின்னால நிறைய தீய விஷயங்கள் ஒளிஞ்சிருந்தது. அதை நான் புரிஞ்சு கொள்ளும் போது அவர் என்னை ஏற்கனவே விலை பேசி கொடுத்துட்டாரு. இதை நான் யார்கிட்ட சொல்வேன்? இதுல இருந்து எப்படி நான் தப்பிப்பேன்?
மனித விற்பனையில் ஈடுபடுதல், அதனை ஆதரித்தல் பாரிய குற்றமாகும். பாதுகாப்பான ஒரு தேசத்திற்காக விழிப்புடன் நாம். நீங்கள்
live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
And now we're back with more local news. A special felicitation program organized by the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation in honor of Dr. Nanda Malini was held today at the Studio 9 of the corporation under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. Now, this has been the first occasion in history of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation where a studio is named after a distinguished female artist of the country. The purpose of this program was to pay tribute to the great service rendered by Dr. Nanda Malini for more than nearly 7 decades to the field of music in Sri Lanka as well as to the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. As a token of appreciation, a studio of the corporation was named after her and ceremonially opened. Accordingly, within the premises of the corporation, a portrait of Dr. Nanda Malini was also unveiled by the Prime Minister. The occasion was graced by Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, Minister of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs Dr. Hiniduma Sunil Senevi, Deputy Minister of Health and Media Dr. Hansaka Vijayamuni, Chairman of the SLBC Professor Udita Gayashan Gunasekara, along with artists and a large number of distinguished guests.
හඬන දෙතොලද සිනාවක් වී පිපෙන්නට හැකිනම් තුලින් තුර නෙලාගත හැකි වන මලක් වී
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that 70 years ago, a little girl came to the Broadcasting Corporation to sing for the children's program Lama Pitiya. On that day, she sang the first song, Dura Pavane Me Kalu Guane. Recognizing her extraordinary vocal talent, Dr. Pandit Amaradeva offered her the opportunity to sing for Sri Lanka's first colour film, Ran Mutudua. That little girl singer recorded her voice at this very broadcasting station for the beautiful lyrics Galana Ganga Ki Jeevite. Today, the opening of a studio of the Broadcasting Corporation in the name of that very little girl is indeed a remarkable occasion. That is Dr. Nanda Malini, who is an epitome of music in this nation. Nanda Malini was never just another name in the musical tradition. Chairman of the SLBC Professor Udita Gayashan Gunasekara said that he considered the role undertaken by veteran singer Nanda Malini, who dedicated her life to safeguarding and giving voice to the nation's cultural values, as something of great significance. He acknowledged that there had once been a time when she had been banned from the national radio, but said fortunately that era had ended. He added that the corporation had always embraced her with affection and continued to hold her in timeless respect.
SCDC Media Scholarship Award 2025 conducted by the Ministry of Health and Mass Media was held at the Ministry under the patronage of the Minister Dr. Nanda Jayatissa. The scholarship program is being implemented with the objective of raising the professionalism of media persons. Scholarships were awarded to 61 media persons. A sum of 6 million rupees has been allocated from the budget this year for this purpose. The government expects to provide scholarship for 100 media persons in the future, according to the minister. Secretary to the Ministry of Health and Mass Media Dr. Anuja Singh, Director General of Government Information Harsha Bandara, Additional Secretaries Deepa Liyanage and NAKL Vijayanayaka and Media Director KP Jayantha along with other officials joined the occasion. Minister Dr. Nanda Jayatissa said that the government expected to enhance the professionalism of journalists and that the Ministry of Mass Media was already implementing several programs for this purpose. He stated that steps were being taken to provide internationally recognized training courses, degree opportunities and platforms for experience sharing. He further said that maximum opportunities would be given to journalists with support from friendly countries so that the nation could benefit from these initiatives. Despite budgetary constraints, he added 70 million rupees has been allocated for these programs as presented in the March budget proposal and that the government expected to allocate more funds in the future. He also announced that from next year an insurance scheme for journalists would be implemented. The fourth volume of Jatika Madhya Sankatana academic journal was launched at the Department of Government Information Auditorium yesterday under the leadership of Minister Dr. Nanda Jayatissa. The theme was Artificial Intelligence and Mass Media. The Ministry of Mass Media launches this academic journal every year with the objective of developing a wide mass media literacy in order to fulfill the social responsibility of mass media qualitatively by accurately directing the modern mass media usage in Sri Lanka. The launch is conducted jointly by the Department of Government Information and Mass Media departments. Jatika Madhya Sankatana academic journal was released to the website of the Department of Government Information. Presentation of journalists to those who contributed with articles was also conducted. Director General of Government Information Harsha Bandara, scholars and media persons joined the occasion.
The World History Summit commenced today at the PreBudget University with the participation of many international researchers of history studies. The summit, titled Puducherry, was attended by professors of many countries including India. A review of the socio-economic, political and cultural history of many regions were also held at this event. The summit will be held until the 24th of this month. A group of university students representing foreign countries were also present at this occasion. The program was held under the patronage of Minister Professor Chandana Beratna and Vice Chancellor Professor Terence Madhujit. Minister Professor Chandana Beratna said that without history, culture and the arts, it was impossible to think about the nation's future. Therefore, he said the government was giving priority to conferences and integrated programs of this nature and would continue to promote them strongly. Professor Ramani Hettiarachchi of the Department of History, University of PreBudget, said that such initiatives could provide the government with a valuable push for the future. She explained that, for example, research teams had travelled abroad 24 times, including with foreign scholars, to carry out cultural studies, and that students also became engaged in these efforts. She emphasized that this should not be seen as something limited only to history, but as an important contribution to a more positive approach in the tourism sector. She added that these activities could be also shed light on strengthening diplomatic relations.
A discussion was held this afternoon at the Presidential Secretariat between Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumar Nayaka and officials of the National Secretariat for Persons with Disabilities to establish more structured mechanism for providing assistance to the disabled community. The meeting focused on expanding and systemizing the service provided through the President's Fund for Persons with Disabilities as well as the execution of programs in the partnership with National Secretariat for Persons with Disabilities. Key areas of attention included increasing medical support allowances, providing essential equipment to empower persons with disabilities, supporting the continuous education of their children, and offering special educational assistance to the children with disabilities. Secretary to the President Dr. Nanda Sanat Kumar Naik emphasizes that the President's fund will take steps to strengthen and streamline existing services to make them more effective and impactful. The discussion was also attended by the Senior Additional Secretary to the President and Secretary to the President's Fund Roshan Gamage along with several officials.
Now, a resident of the Vavegam area in Suryavava Hambantota was killed in a shootout occurring this morning. It is reported that the victim is suspected to be a criminal. The shooting occurred between the police special task force and two members of an organized criminal gang. During the shootout, the suspect had thrown a hand grenade towards the STF officials. At that time, one of the suspects had fled the area. An official of the STF had also been injured in the exchange of gunfire. He has been admitted to the Suryavava hospital for treatment. Several police teams have started investigations into this incident. Police states that a person was killed in a shootout occurred near the Bolgoda Bridge in Bandaragama last night. While the victim was travelling in his motor car, two unidentified gunmen mounted on a motorbike had shot at him and fled the area. The victim has been identified as a former prison officer who is 57 years old in the Pinwat area in Panadura. Police stated that over 25 T-56 ammunition was strewn at the crime scene. The reason for the shooting has not yet been revealed. Police are conducting investigations to arrest the suspects.
The committee that has been appointed to find and implement immediate solutions to prevent wild elephants knocking on trains met at the Parliament complex yesterday to discuss the measures taken so far in this connection. The number of incidents of elephants knocking on trains were reported during the past period. The government has taken numerous actions to identify the causes of relevant accidents. Funds have also been allocated from this year's budget to prevent human-elephant conflict. Accordingly, a joint program with wildlife officials and railway engineers has been implemented as a solution to elephants knocking against trains. Engine drivers have been informed that hotspots where elephants roam at night in the jungle areas close to the railway line in the northern and Batiklo forest area. Engine drivers are advised to be vigilant while travelling through these areas. The relevant railway staff will also be provided with proper training for this purpose. Volunteer groups will also be attached to make this program successful. Meanwhile, a program has been also implemented to replace dilapidated sleepers along the railway track close to 141st Mile Sport from Galloya Junction to Hingurangoda. Basic tests are also being conducted to fix new gadgets in train using artificial intelligence with the help of engineering faculty of Peradeniya University. Measures have also been taken to install thermal cameras introduced by the Arthur C. Clarke Institute at the railway access where wild elephants roaming rampantly. It was also discussed to prepare a proper system of maintaining railway tracks, making it easy for wild animals to cross the railway line. Minister Dr. Dhammika Patabandi, Bima Ratnayaka and several others were present at this discussion.
And that was your local news. Foreign news on the other side. Stay tuned.
குழந்தைய பாக்குற வேலைன்னு சொன்னாலும் 7-8 குடும்பங்களோட எல்லா வேலையும் நான் செய்ய வேண்டியிருக்கு. நாங்க ஏமாந்துட்டோம். நினைச்சதை விட இங்க வேலை கஷ்டமா இருக்கு.
மகன் என்ன தேடுறானா?
அம்மா நல்லா இருக்கேன் தானே?
எனக்கு இந்த மாசம் சம்பளம் கூட தரல. நான் அதை கேட்ட நேரம் என்ன ரொம்ப மோசமா அடிச்சாங்க. கொஞ்சம் அந்த ஏஜென்சிக்கு கதைச்சு பாக்குறீங்களா?
அது ஒரு போலி ஏஜென்சி வசந்தி. அது இப்போ அந்த இடத்திலேயே இல்ல. எங்களை கூட்டிட்டு போன விமல் அண்ணாவும் இல்ல.
இதுக்கு மேல என்னால சத்தியமா தாங்கிக்க முடியல. எனக்கு உங்ககிட்ட திரும்ப வரணும். இத நாங்க யாருக்கிட்ட சொல்லலாம்?
மனித விற்பனையில் ஈடுபடுதல், அதனை ஆதரித்தல் பாரிய குற்றமாகும். பாதுகாப்பான ஒரு தேசத்திற்காக விழிப்புடன் நாம். நீங்கள்
அழகா இருக்க எங்களுக்கும் ஆசைத்தான். ஆனா எங்களுக்கும் யாராவது இருந்திருந்தா.
என் வயசு பிள்ளைங்க பாடசாலைக்கு போய் படிக்கையில நான் கடையில கஷ்டப்பட்டு வேலை செய்ய வேண்டியிருக்கு.
நானும் ஒரு சின்ன பிள்ளை. எங்களை வீதியில தள்ளி விட்டப்போ தடுக்கிறதுக்கு யாருமே இருக்கல.
ஹலோ, மனித விற்பனைக்கு எதிரான தேசிய செயலணி.
மனித விற்பனையில் ஈடுபடுதல், அதனை ஆதரித்தல் பாரிய குற்றமாகும். பாதுகாப்பான ஒரு தேசத்திற்காக விழிப்புடன்
நாம் அனைவரும் நாம் இருக்கும் இடத்திலிருந்து ஒரு படி மேலே செல்லவே முயற்சி செய்கின்றோம். பல கனவுகளை சுமந்த வண்ணம் வெளிநாட்டுக்கு சென்றது வாழ்க்கையில் வெற்றி பெறலாம் என்று நினைத்துக் கொண்டு, ஆனால் ஆராய்ந்து பார்க்காமல் நாங்கள் தேர்வு செய்த பாதை பிழைத்து போனது. சமூக வலைத்தளங்களுக்கூடாக குற்றங்களை செய்ய நிர்பந்திக்கப்பட்டோம். எவரது பாதுகாப்பு மற்ற ஓரிடத்தில் இணைய குற்றவாளிகளுக்கு நான் இரையாகிவிட்டேன். யாருமே அந்த கஷ்டத்தை அனுபவிக்க கூடாது.
Moving on to news overseas, Russia has launched 574 drones and 40 missiles on Ukraine in one of the heaviest bombardments in this week. One person was killed in a drone and missile strike on western city of Lviv, while 15 others were reported wounded in another attack. The attacks came as US President Donald Trump spearheads diplomatic moves to halt the war. Ukrainian foreign minister said that the strikes highlighted why efforts to bring it to an end were so critical. President Vladimir Zelensky has said Ukraine was ready to meet Russia's Vladimir Putin in neutral Europe, meeting Switzerland or Austria, adding that he was not against Istanbul either. President Zelensky has stated his willingness to meet Putin in any format, although he has poured cold water on the idea of talks taking place in Budapest, which he said is not easy today.
And now for your sports news. Now in your sports news, Sri Lankan athlete Rumesh Tharanga was able to win the gold medal today in the men's javelin throw event of the Asian Javelin Throw Championship. The women's silver medal in the same event was won by Nadisha Dilhani of Sri Lanka. The championship is being held at Mokpo in South Korea. Rumesh Tharanga secures the first place in the javelin throw event, clearing a distance of 82.05 meters. Japan won the second place in the same event and Pakistan became the third. Nadisha Dilhani Lekamge won the second place in the women's javelin throw event, clearing a distance of 57.53 meters. The first place was won by a Japanese athlete with a distance of 62.20 meters. A Chinese athlete who cleared a distance of 57.47 meters became the third in the event. And that was a look at your news here at ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation. I've been Siobhan Pereira together with Situmi Jayaratna. Wish you a pleasant evening and a wonderful weekend ahead.
Good night.